Noble silence. Buddha Sakyamuni refrained from giving a definitive answer to many metaphysical questions of his time. This is often referred to as the silence of the Buddha. He always remained silent when the students asked him if the self exists or not, if an enlightened one continues to exist after his death, if the world is eternal and unending or not. The Buddha explained that he was silent on these questions because answers to them would in no way further progress on the path. These answers would not contribute to overcoming of the passions, nor to the attainment of wisdom. Thus the Buddha speaks only when necessary. Buddha Sakyamuni refrained from giving a definitive answer to many metaphysical questions of his time. Questions of self exists, not self exists, if the world is eternal, or unending or no, etc. According to the Buddha, a silent person is very often a wise person, because he or she avoids wasting energy or negative verbiage. The Buddha always remained silent toward irrelevant questions. One day a certain man said to the Buddha that he would join the band of his disciples if the Buddha would give clear answer to the questions. Would the Buddha ever die? And, if so, what would become of him after death? What was the first cause of the universe? And what was the universe going to be like in the future? Why do men live? And what becomes of them after death? If the person asks because he wants to cause troubles for the Buddha will remain silent. If the person asks because he wants to study, the Buddha's answer was to the following effect. Suppose you were shot by a poison arrow, and a physician came to draw the arrow from your body and to dress the wound. Would you first ask him questions as to what the arrow was made of, what the composition of the poison was, and who shot the arrow, and, if the physician did not dress the wound, what was going to happen, and such blissful questions, and refuse the treatment until the physician answered all the questions to your satisfaction? You would be dead before you obtained the answers. In this parable, the Buddha advised the questioner to become his disciple without wasting his time on problems which were too profound to be understood by an ordinary man. Probably a long cultivation as a disciple of the Buddha, he might come to understand. According to the Madhyamaka philosophy, the mysterious silence of the Buddha on most fundamental questions of metaphysics led him to probe into the reason of that silence. Was the Buddha agnostic, as some of the European writers on Buddhism believe him to be? If not, what was the reason of his silence? Through a searching inquiry into this silence, was the dialectic born? There are well-known questions, which the Buddha declared to be avyakrita, or the answers to which were inexpressible. Kadakirti enumerates them in his commentary on the Madhyamaka Sastra, that the Buddha announced 14 things to be inexpressible. Whether the world is eternal, not eternal, both eternal and not eternal, neither eternal nor not eternal. Whether the world is finite, infinite, both finite and infinite, neither finite nor infinite. Whether the Tathagata exists after death, does not exist after death, either exists or does not exist after death, neither exists nor does not exist after death. Whether the soul is identical with the body, or different with the body. According to Majjhima Nikaya 2, Kula Malunkyaputta Sutta, the Buddha reminded Malunkyaputta, there are problems unexplained, put aside and ignored by the Tathagata. Namely, the world is eternal, or it's not eternal. The universe is finite, or it is infinite. Life is the same as body, or life is one thing and body another. The Tathagata exists after death, or the Tathagata does not exist after death. The Tathagata both exists, and does not exist after death. The Tathagata either exists nor not exists after death. To explain these things is a waste of time. Sentient beings. Sentient beings include the living beings and things. The living beings, or the sentient, are those with emotions and wisdom, while things, or insentient things, are those without emotions nor wisdom. Therefore, sentient beings, or those with emotions, the living, or those who possess consciousness, while insentient things, or those without emotions, insentient things, survive through the means of their own beings, from sunlight, earth and air. Plants are not considered sentient beings because they do not possess consciousness. Conscious beings or sentient beings, which possess magical and spiritual powers. All the living, which includes the vegetable kingdom. However, the term sattva limits the meaning to those endowed with reason, consciousness, and feeling, or those who are sentient, sensible, animate, and rational. According to Buddhism, any living being who has a consciousness, including those of the 6 realms, heaven, human, ajura, animal, hungry ghost, and hell, all sentient beings can be said to have inherent enlightenment or Buddha nature. The term living beings refer to all creatures that possess life force. Each individual living being comes into being as the result of a variety of different causes and conditions. The smallest living beings, as ants, mosquitoes, or even the most tiniest parasites, are living beings. However, the majority of conscious beings are ordinary people who always examine themselves and realize they are just unenlightened, mortal, filled with greed, hatred, and ignorance, as well as an accumulation of infinite other transgressions in the past, present, and future. From realizing this, they develop a sense of shame, and then vow to change their way, be remorseful, repent, and give their best to cultivate with vigor, such as chanting sutra, reciting the Buddha's name, or sitting meditation, seeking to quickly end karmic obstructions, and to attain enlightenment in a very near future. In Buddhist philosophy, a sentient being is one who has a mind, that is, something that is aware of its surroundings, and is capable of volitional activity. In Buddhist psychological literature, the minimum necessary requirements for something to be a sentient being are the 5 omnipresent mental factors, sarvatraga. 1. Feeling, vedana. 2. Discrimination, samjna. 3. Intention, satana. 4. Mental activity, manasikara. 5. Contact, sparsa. Beings are different in various ways, including the good and bad seeds they possess. Each being creates karma and undergoes its individual retribution. This process evolves from distinctions that occur in the 5 skandhas. Every being is a combination of 5 elements: rupa, vedana, sana, sankhara, and vijnana. Hence, one being is not essentially different from another. An ordinary man is not different from a perfect saint, but is the nature and proportion of each of the 5 constituents existing in an individual be taken into account. Then one being is different from another. An ordinary man is different from a perfect saint. The combination of elements is the outcome of karma, and is happening every moment, implying that the disintegration of elements always precedes it. The elements in a combined state pass as an individual, and from time immemorial, he works under misconception of a self, and of things relating to a self, his vision being distorted, or obscured by ignorance of the truth. He cannot perceive the momentary combination and disintegration of elements. On the other hand, he is subject to an inclination for them. A perfect man with his vision cleared by the Buddhist practices and culture realizes the real state of empirical things, that an individual consists of the 5 elements, and does not possess a permanent and unchanging entity called soul. According to Buddhism, physically speaking, There are 4 kinds of beings, including living and non-living beings: flying, swimming, walking, and plants. Those with blood and breath are called animals, and plants refer to all kinds of grasses, trees, and flower plants. Where do all those 4 kinds of beings come from? What is their origin? According to Buddhism, their origin is the Buddha nature. If there was no Buddha nature, everything would be annihilated. The Buddha nature is the only thing that passes through 10,000 generations, and all time without being destroyed. From the Buddha nature come bodhisattvas, hearers, enlightened to conditions, gods, asuras, people, animals, ghosts, and hell beings. Those are beings of the 10 Dharma realms, and the 10 Dharma realms are not apart from a single thought of the mind. This single thought of the mind is just the seed of the Buddha nature. One true thought is just another name for the Buddha nature. Those living beings include beings which are born through the womb, those born through eggs, those born through moisture, and those born through transformation, or metamorphoses such as a worm transforming to become a butterfly. According to the Lankavatara Sutra, from the religious point of view, there are 5 orders of beings. First of all, those who belong to the Sarvaka order are delighted at listening to such doctrines as concern the skandhas, datas, or ayatanas, but take no special interest in the theory of causation, who have cut themselves loose from the bondage of evil passions but have not yet destroyed their habit energy. They have attained the realization of nirvana, abiding in which state they would declare that they have put an end to existence. Their life of morality is now attained. All that is to be done is done. They would not be reborn. These have gained an insight into the non-existence of an ego substance in a person, but not yet into that in objects. These philosophical leaders, who believe in a creator, or in the ego soul, may also be classified under this order. Second, the Pratyabhuddha order comprises those who are intensely interested in anything that leads them to the realization of Pratyabhuddhahood. They would retire into solitude and have no attachment to worldly things. When they hear that the Buddha manifests himself in a variety of forms, sometimes in group, sometimes singly, exhibiting miraculous powers, they think these are meant for their own order, and immensely delighted in them, they would follow and accept them. Third, those of the Tathagata order, or those who may listen to discourse on such subjects as manifestations of mind, or transcendental realm of the Alaya, from which starts this world of particulars, and yet they may not at all feel astonished or frightened. The Tathagata order may be again divided into 3. Those who gain an insight into the truth that there is no individual reality behind one perceives. Those who know that there is an immediate perception of the truth in one's inmost consciousness. Those who perceive that besides this world there are a great number of Buddha lands, wide and far extending. Fourth, those who belong to no definite order, or those who are of the indeterminate nature, for those who belong to it may take to either one of the above 3 orders according to their opportunities. Fifth, those who are altogether outside these orders. There is still another class of beings, which cannot be comprised under any of the 4 already mentioned, for they have no desire whatever for emancipation, and without this desire no religious teaching can enter into any heart. They belong to the Ekantika order. Ekantika is a Sanskrit word, which means incomplete faith, and lacking good roots, a class of beings who have cut off all their virtuous roots, kusala mula, and so have no hope of attaining Buddhahood. The status of Ekantikas was once an important topic of debate in East Asian Buddhism, with some groups claiming that they are unable to attain liberation, while others asserted that all beings, including Ekantikas, have the Buddha nature, and so the virtuous roots may be re-established. Bhiksus who refuse to enter upon their Buddhahood in order to save all beings. Ekantika is one who cuts off his roots of goodness. The Adyantika are people who are extremely evil and wicked, having lost all senses of goodness. It is impossible to transform, or influence them to take a cultivated path. However, this also applied to a bodhisattva, who has made his vow not to become a Buddha, until all beings are saved. In the Lankavatara Sutra, Buddha reminded Mahamadi, "O Mahamadi, the Bodhisattva Kantika, knowing that all things are in nirvana from the beginning, refrains forever from entering into nirvana." Two subclasses, however, may be distinguished here: those who have forsaken all roots of merit, or those who vilify the doctrines meant for the bodhisattvas, saying that they are not in accordance with the sacred texts, rules of morality, and the doctrine of emancipation. Because of this vilification, they forsake all the roots of merit, and do not enter into nirvana. Those who have vowed at the beginning to save all beings, they are bodhisattvas who wish to lead all beings to nirvana, deny themselves of this bliss. They vowed in the beginning of their religious career that until every one of their fellow beings is led to enjoy the eternal happiness of nirvana, they themselves would not leave this world of pain and suffering, but must strenuously, and with every possible means, work toward the completion of their mission. But as there will be no termination of life, as long as the universe continues to exist, bodhisattvas may have no chance forever to rest themselves quietly with their work finished in the serenity of nirvana. The time will come even to those who speak evil of the Bodhisattvayana, when through the power of the Buddhas, they finally embrace the Mahayana, and by amassing stock of merit enter into nirvana. For the Buddhas are always working for the benefit of all beings, no matter what they are. But as for bodhisattvas, they never enter into nirvana, as they have a deep insight into the nature of things, which are already in nirvana, even as they are. Thus, we know where bodhisattvas stand in their never-ending task of leading all beings into the final abode of rest. According to the Mahanidana Sutta and the Sanjiti Sutta, in the long discourses of the Buddha, there are 7 stations of consciousness. There are beings different in body and different in perception, such as human beings, some evis and some states of woe. There are beings different in body and alike in perception, such as the devas of Brahma's retinue, born there on account of having attained the first jhana. There are beings alike in body and different in perception, such as the Abhasara devas. There are beings alike in body and alike in perception, such as the Subhakina devas. There are beings who have completely transcended all perception of matter, by the vanishing of the perception of sensory actions, and by non-attention to the perception of variety. Thinking space is infinite. They have attained to the sphere of infinite space. There are beings who, by transcending the sphere of infinite space, thinking consciousness is infinite, have attained to the sphere of infinite consciousness. And there are beings who, having transcended the sphere of infinite consciousness, thinking there is nothing, have attained to the sphere of nothingness. There are 7 stages of existence in a human world or in any desire world. They are being in the hells, animals, the hungry ghosts, the devas, the human beings, beings of karma, and beings in the intermediate stage. Besides, there are still 7 other kinds of sentient beings: hells, hungry ghosts, animals, demons of higher order, humans, non-humans, and gods, a genius, or higher spiritual being. According to the Lotus Sutra, there are still 8 other beings: Deva, Naga, Yaksa, Asura, Gadura, Kinara, Gandharv, and Mahagara. According to Buddhist tradition, there are 9 kinds of beings. First, sense desire becoming. The kind of becoming possessed of sense desires. Second, fine material becoming. The kind of becoming possessed of fine material. Third, immaterial becoming. The kind of becoming possessed of immaterial. Fourth, percipient becoming. The kind of becoming possessed of perception. Fifth, non-percipient becoming. The kind of becoming possessed of non-perception. Sixth, either percipient nor non-percipient becoming. The kind of becoming possessed of either perception nor non-perception. Seventh, one constituent becoming. The kind of becoming possessed of one constituent. Eighth, four constituent becoming. The kind of becoming possessed of four constituents. Ninth, five constituent becoming. The kind of becoming possessed of five constituents. According to the Sanjiti Sutta, there are 9 more kinds of sentient beings. Beings different in body and different in perception, such as human beings. Some devas and hells, beings different in body and alike in perception, such as new rebirth Brahma. Beings are alike in body and different in perception, such as light sound heavens Abhasvara. Beings alike in body and alike in perception, such as heavens of pure dwelling, the realm of unconscious beings, such as heavens of no thought. Beings who have attained the sphere of infinite space. Beings who have attained to the sphere of infinite consciousness. Beings who have attained to the sphere of nothingness. And beings who have attained to the sphere of neither perception nor non-perception. In the Surangama Sutra, Book 7, the Buddha reminded Ananda about the 12 categories of living beings. 1. Egg-born beings, or beings born through egg. Through a continuous process of falseness, the upside-down state of movement occurs in this world. It unites with energy to become 84,000 kinds of random thoughts that either fly or sink. From this there come into being the egg kalalas, which multiply throughout the lands in the form of fish, birds, amphibians, and reptiles, so that their kinds abound. 2. Womb-born beings, or beings born through womb. Through a continuous process of defilement, the upside-down state of desire occurs in this world. It unites with stimulation to become 84,000 kinds of random thoughts that are either upright or perverse. From this there come into being the womb Buddhas, which multiply throughout the world, in the form of humans, animals, dragons, and immortals until their kinds abound. 3. Moisture-born beings, or beings born through moisture. Through a continuous process of attachment, the upside-down state of inclination occurs in this world. It unites with warmth to become 84,000 kinds of random thoughts that are vacillating and inverted. From this there come into being through moisture the appearance of peshis, which multiply throughout the lands, in the form of insects and crawling invertebrates, until their kinds abound. 4. Transformation-born beings, or beings born through transformation. Through a continuous process of change, the upside-down state of borrowing occurs in this world. It unites with contact to become 84,000 kinds of random thoughts of new and old. From this there come into being, through transformation, the appearance of ganas, which multiply throughout the lands, in the form of metamorphic flying and crawling creatures, until their kinds abound. 5. Form-born beings, or beings born through form. Through a continuous process of restraint, the upside-down state of obstruction occurs in this world. It unites with attachment to become 84,000 kinds of random thoughts of refinement and brilliance. From this there come into being the ganas of appearance that possess form, which multiply throughout the lands in the form of auspicious and inauspicious essences, until their kinds abound. 6. Formless-born beings, or beings born through formlessness. Through a continuous process of annihilation and dispersion, the upside-down state of delusion occurs in this world. It unites with darkness to become 84,000 kinds of random thoughts of obscurity and hiding. From this there come into being the ganas, of formless beings, which multiply throughout the lands as those that are empty, dispersed, annihilated, and submerged until their kinds abound. 7. With thought-born beings, or beings born with thoughts, through a continuous process of illusory imaginings. The upside-down state of shadows occurs in this world. It unites with memory to become 84,000 kinds of random thoughts that are hidden and bound up. From this there come into being the ganas, of those with thought, which multiply throughout the lands, in the form of spirits, ghosts, and weird essences, until their kinds abound. 8. Without thought-born beings, or beings born without thought, through a continuous process of dullness and slowness. The upside-down state of stupidity occurs in this world. It unites with obstinacy to become 84,000 kinds of random thoughts that are dry and attenuated. From this there come into being the ganas of those without thought, which multiply throughout the lands, as their essence and spirit change into earth, wood, metal, or stone, until their kinds abound. 9. Not endowed with form-born beings, or beings born not endowed with form, through a continuous process of parasitic interaction. The upside-down state of simulation occurs in this world. It unites with defilement to become 84,000 kinds of random thoughts of according and relying. From this there come into being those not totally endowed with form, who become ganas of form, which multiply throughout the lands, until their kinds abound, in such ways as jellyfish that use shrimp for eyes. 10. Not lacking form-born beings, or beings born not totally lacking form, through a continuous process of mutual enticement. An upside-down state of the nature occurs in this world. It unites with mantras to become 84,000 kinds of random thoughts of beckoning and summoning. From this there come into being those not totally lacking form, who take ganas which are formless, and multiply throughout the lands, until their kinds abound, as the hidden beings of mantras and incantations. 11. Not totally endowed with thought-born beings, or beings born not totally endowed with thought, through a continuous process of false unity. The upside-down state transgression occurs in this world. It unites with unlike formations to become 84,000 kinds of random thoughts of reciprocal interchange. From this come into being those not totally endowed with thought, which become ganas possessing thought, and which multiply throughout the lands, until their kinds abound in such forms as the varata, which turns a different creature into its own species. 12. Not totally lacking thought-born beings, or beings born through not totally lacking thought, through a continuous process of empty and harm. The upside-down state of killing occurs in this world. It unites with monstrosities to become 84,000 kinds of random thoughts of devouring one's father and mother. From this there come into being those not totally lacking thought, who take ganas with no thought, and multiply throughout the lands, until their kinds abound in such forms as the dirt owl, which hatches its young from clods and dirt, and which incubates a poisonous fruit to create its young. In each case, the young thereupon eat the parents,